Hi, everybody. This is Tandra Bowers with the Home Experts for You team of Keller Williams. So I want to introduce to you today Matt Godshall with Lacher. He's the personal insurance sales director over at Lacher. And I'm excited to have him on today because we're going to talk about mystifying all these questions you might have when you're buying a home and what happens with some sort of disaster, with perhaps a flood. We live in a very wet climate in our area, and these things do happen, even with precautionary measures in place with your home. So I want to ask Matt to share some tips with us. What should you be asking? What should they be asking their agent, when they're looking for insurance? And what should they know? How should they prepare for some sort of, protecting their assets?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on today. I appreciate
Sure.
you giving me the floor and allowing me to talk a little bit about this. And really, it's a little bit of myth busting that we're trying to do today, simply because of the fact that there's a great misconception about what flood is and what flood isn't. And water comes in a lot of different ways. So the conversation and the coverage ebbs and flows, pun intended. If you categorize water in a couple different ways, there's traditional coverage to water loss, such as a broken pipe or a hot water heater. When those kind of things happen and property is damaged, a traditional home policy is going to provide coverage for that. But two other categories in which water is often seen damaging property is by way of subsurface water coming up through a sewer or a drain or a sump pump. And when that happens, your home policy without endorsement is not going to cover damage to basement contents as well as building material. So your drywall, your insulation, your carpeting has no coverage unless you have water backup coverage. And you can typically get a minimum of $5,000 in coverage. You can maybe at sometimes pick a different deductible to make it a little bit more accessible at the time of a loss. But you can get higher limits, 15, 20, 30, 40, whatever your basement has costed you to invest in. So water backup is certainly something that you want to ask about, especially when you have a finished basement. And you also want to know, does it cover personal property? Not all carriers are going to cover personal property and building materials. It's sometimes one or the other. The other would then be surface water. So again, we covered subsurface water coming from the ground up, but it's the surface water. It could come through an egress window, foundation walls as it creeps through cracks in an older home. If water finds its way into your basement, by that means it's considered flood, and flood is not covered one way or the other when it comes to home insurance policies. And people will call and say, I had flood damage, and they refer to flood damage when it's a broken pipe. They refer to flood damage when it's an underground, kind of a subsurface event. But flood, again, is going to be denied 100% of the time. So how we answer for that is by a flood insurance or by a flood policy. And traditionally, the National Flood Insurance Program has always been kind of the one to respond to that. At times, it's cost prohibitive, but they're the ones who have set kind of the 100-year mark of what is the real exposure based on symmetrics and the forecasting of what's the potential of a flood happening in your area. And oftentimes people will say, well, I'm not in a flood zone. I'm not in a flood plain. I don't need to worry about that. But to your comment about a wet climate, I mean, we have blizzards in North Carolina, and we have just wildfires and nor'easters and things that are happening now, where we have freezing and thawing and water coming all, through all, shapes and sizes and different, occurrences that, again, has never been seen before. So people that aren't in floodplains and flood zones are seeing water in their basement. And so there's now a private market out there that is also now, more accessible and oftentimes more financially reasonable. So the cost to get flood for somebody who's not in a flood zone, is much more affordable. So it may be a couple $100s or a few $100s for some flood insurance. And I think oftentimes the misconception is that it's not affordable. They're not in a floodplain. And again, being in the industry and answering these calls day in and day out, it's happening to people that are not in flood zones, and it's happening more than you think, and it's happening more and more each year. So Again, just good to get education, working with an agent that kind of knows the difference and can steer you and give you options, give you counsel, and just arm you with enough information to make a good decision.
If you want further information, I'd be happy to get you in touch with Matt. He's a great resource and will answer any questions. So feel free to reach out at 215-680-4652, 215-680-4652, or check us out on the web at suburblivingblog.com. This is Tandra Bowers with the Home Experts for You team of Keller Williams. Thanks.
This is Megan Munley with Fairway Independent Mortgage Company, your local mortgage lender right here in Conshohocken. I wanted to share with you one of the most important tips when you're looking to purchase a home. Whether it's your first home, your vacation home, a new home, or an investment property, you don't need 20% down to purchase that house. There are mortgage solutions with as little as 3% down, even in the jumbo category, if you're looking to purchase a primary residence. The most important thing that we can look to do is find the solution that is going to fit your goals based on a monthly payment and what you'd like to invest initially in purchasing the home. From there, we can find solutions that may have mortgage insurance non-existent from the beginning, or options that allow you to purchase that mortgage insurance upfront at a fraction of the cost and not have to pay it on a monthly basis. What a great savings that can be. If you or anyone you know has questions about the mortgage and financing process, I would be happy to answer those. Please don't hesitate to reach out.